Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shubhi and I talk about books and reading and a little bit of lifestyle on this channel. I hope you like this. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Also follow me on Instagram because I am very much active over there. And without any further ado, let's get this video rolling. Let me first wish you a very happy new year. I hope 2026 brings you a lot of joy, a lot of kindness, positivity, and all the good things. I have been seeing a lot of new year related content on the community, and I really wanted to do some of my own. So here's this video, and we're going to talk about my 2026 reading goals, reading intentions, and the 15 books that I want to read in 2026. I'm not doing 26 for 2026 because I am almost always able to read about 30ish books in a year, so 26 would be a lot because I want to have some room for experimentation. But yeah, we'll talk about 12 to 15 books that I really want to get to in 2026. Also, I want to read a little more than 30 books. I want to read maybe about 40 to 45 books. So here's hoping that we are able to do that. Let's go. My very first reading goal for 2026 would be to stick to my discovered favorite genre. Let me explain. So, I used to think that I am a romance kind of girly up until half of 2024, but then as I went through books, I realized that I do not like romance books. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love me some rom com here and there, but I'm not a very big fan of romance which is just romance. I need something other than romance to be happening in the book, in the plot, for it to be interesting and exciting for me. And if you've been on BookTube, Bookstagram, BookTok, you know that romance or rom com books are, almost always popular. There is some or the other book that's coming out, which is the new BookTok sensation. And I have been giving into that urge to, read the book that everybody else is reading, but I'm not going to do that in 2026. I'm just going to stick to my favorite genre. The genres that I like more, basically, which are literary fiction, magical realism, and a little bit of fantasy. Again, not romantasy. I do not like, the usual kind of romantasy books that are coming out so much during these times. I am a big high fantasy fan. Not to say that I've read a lot of high fantasy, but I do want to change that. I want to get to reading a lot of those kind of books, but we'll get to that a little later in this video. So yeah, read a lot of lit fic, read a lot of contemporary fiction, general fiction, those kind of books. So yeah, that's our first goal. My second goal of the year would be to read more Indian authors. I have been somebody who just steer clears of Indian writing. I don't know why. I feel like it hits a little too close to home, and I'm not a fan of that kind of relatability, but I want to change that. So far, uh, however many Indian authors I've read, I have really loved the writing and I have really loved the stories. But I don't know, for some kind of reason, I just stay away from Indian authors, and I'm going to change that in 2026. I follow some amazing creators who talk about Indian literature and Indian authors, and I definitely want to, divulge into that genre. I really want to dip my toes into Indian mythology books and books that talk about Indian historical events, or like, basically, what do you call it, historical fiction, Indian historical fiction. I think I like that kind of genre, and I want to do that more often, which I don't. Guilty, sorry. I will do that in 2026. I'll fix it. Goal number 3 is to not be afraid of thick books. I am somebody who just runs away when I see a thick book. I don't know what is in me that I just can't pick up a thick book. I have this weird perception that I'm not going to be able to finish it, and I then don't end up finishing it, which is just bizarre. So anything that is closer to the 500 page mark is like, I run away from it. I can't. Okay, the last thick book I read was A Little Life, and I loved it. Most of the thick books that I've read, I've loved, but for some reason, I just don't gravitate towards them. So we are just gonna erase this fear out of our lives so that we can read some amazing books. Like, I really want to read Branderson. What's the name? What's the name, guys? Just let me. Brandon Sanderson. I'm so sorry. It just, I had a brain fumble moment. But yeah, I really want to read Brandon Sanderson's books. I feel like I would really enjoy those books. And I want to get into high fantasy books like The Will of the Many and The Sword of Keegan. I feel like those books are right up my alley, but I just see the size of those books and I am afraid. So, we are going to change that. I am planning to read at least 3 to 4 thick books, which are like 600, 800 pages. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we'll try. Okay. Reading goal number 4 is to read at least 2 classics this year. Okay. Again, I just can't read classics. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, okay? I do not have a justification for this. I used to, when I started reading around 2020, 2021, I used to read so many classics. I read Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, uh, the other one, Little Women. All of these I read and loved. Wuthering Heights is one of my favorite books till date. Last year, the only classic that I read was The Great Gatsby. Again, very short, very tiny, very digestible, so I was able to read it. But I really want to read classics. I have, actually, there's one that I have right on my shelf. I can't find it. I don't know where I've kept it. Wow, and I can't seem to find it. Anyway, it was My Brother's Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I really want to start reading Dostoevsky, not to be performative, but I really want to know, why he's so talked about. And this story, I've read White Nights, loved it. Again, very short, it's a pocket classic, very heart wrenching story, loved it. But I really want to read the My Brother's Karamazov. The story sounds really interesting. It's very thick, okay? It's a lot of words. I am talking like a complete rubbish person, but it really is a lot of words. I How is it not on my shelf? Wait. Oh, sorry, it's not it's the brothers Karamazov. Sorry. It's a courtroom drama and a murder mystery about patricide. So the father is found murdered, and the 3 suspects are his 3 sons, which are, I think, the brothers. And yeah, it's a very thick book. It's not one of those large fonts book. It's like a lot of words in here. It's how many pages? Let me check. Yeah, 700 pages. But we'll read it. We'll Also, I want to take my time with this book. That's another goal of mine, which is to not just read mindlessly, not just chug books one after the others, and take my time and truly, mindfully read and understand what I'm reading, not just, go page by page and read for the sake of completing my yearly goal of reading. So yeah, this oops, this is one book that I really want to take my time with this year. Let's hope that happens. So yeah, those were all my reading goals and intentions for this year. Also, I am going to be maintaining a reading journal, which I will maybe share in some other video. And yeah, those were my reading goals. Now let's talk about the 12 books that I want to read, really, really read in 2026, and which I'll be prioritizing over the other books throughout the year. So the first book I want to read in 2026, I keep saying 5. The first book that I want to read in 2026 is the Red Rising series. So it's Red Rising, Iron, something, Morning Star. I know these three are the parts. I want to read the first book at least this year and see how I like it. I have heard great reviews about it, and from what I've heard, I think I am really going to enjoy it. So that's the first book. Number 2 is actually right here. Where is it? Yep. Number two is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. And again, I got this book last year when everybody else was reading it. I read about 20-30 pages. I was kind of liking the writing style and everything, but for some reason I stopped reading it, got busy or whatever. I really want to finish this book in this coming year, and looks like a great read. The third book again is a high fantasy book. It's The Will of the Many by James Islington. Islington? I don't know. Sorry, I'll mention the correct name over here. Yeah, The Will of the Many. It's a really interesting high fantasy book. Again, very thick. It's about 1,000 pages. I don't know. Uh, I have heard amazing things about that book. There is some kind of hierarchy system regarding wills in which the people on the lower side of the pyramid have to, give part of their wills to the people above them and something like that. I am really curious and really interested to know the storyline and the plot of that book. From what I've heard, it sounds amazing and I really, really want to read it. Second book is, sorry, what book? The fourth book, I think. The next book, I'll just say. The next book is again on my physical TBR. It is If We Were Villain by ML Reeve. I got this book for Secret Santa this Christmas, and yeah, I have been meaning to get my hands on this book for a while. This sounds really interesting, and I want to read this around, autumn, fall, October, November time. I think there's a group of people and some kind of murder happens. This, from what I've heard, this is the stepping stone to reading Secret History by Donna Tartt. I have the Secret History as well on my physical TBR, but again, I have had it for like 3 years at this point, but never read it. We'll read this one first. They are in some university, and one of the seven friends is found dead. And yeah, I guess you've found out what happens in the book. The next book that I'm really excited for in 2026 is the Six of Crows short story that's coming out. It's coming out in summertime. I'm not sure what month, but she's writing. It's not going to be related to Six of Crows, but it's set in Ketterdam from what I've heard. And anything that is remotely close to Six of Crows, I am going to read. And I am absolutely eagerly waiting for that book to come out, and as soon as it comes out, I'm gonna try and get my hands on it because book releases are usually late in India. But yeah, that's one book that I'm very, very excited about. Next book that I want to read is The Secret Academy. No, it's The Secret Alchemy by Stephanie Garber. I really like Stephanie Garber's writing. I read the blurb of it and it sounded so interesting, so beautiful. I think it's the first adult book that she's writing. I really like Stephanie Garber's writing. It's very whimsical, very magical. Like it transports you into this whole another world, which is all beautiful. I love it. I've read Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart part 1 by her. I also want to continue the Once Upon Broken Heart trilogy. I loved the first book. It was so good. I want to read the second and third really quickly. But yeah, coming back to Secret Alchemy, really interesting, really fun blurb, fun premise. Looking forward to reading that one. Next book that I want to read, actually, it's an author that I want to read. Any book by him would be okay, but I have My Friends by Frederick Bachman right over here. This one. I want to read Frederick Bachman more. I think I'm gonna really like his writing. I started reading My Friends last year in December. Read about 20 pages again and stopped because I got busy. I went on a vacation. I was also tabbing this book. So far, I was really enjoying, really, loving the writing style. Sorry, really loving the writing style of Frederick Bachman. I think he's a geniusly wonderful author. He's so witty. I love it. I also want to read Bear Town by him. Yeah, I don't know how many books we're at, but let's keep rolling. Again, another book I really want to read is Pachinko. It's a historical fiction book. It spans across generations, 3 generations, I believe. Again, beautiful summary. I've only heard good things about that book, and that's another book that's very high up on my radar. The next book on my list is a romance book, is One Golden Summer by Kali Fortune. It sounds like a romance that I would like. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. Next book on my priority reading list is Wishes by V.E. Schwab. Now, I read Addie LaRue last year, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and I just fell in love with the writing style of V.E. Schwab. And I know she's coming out with newer books. Bury Our Bones and The Midnight Soil came last year. I've not read it, I don't have it. But I do want to complete her backlist before I move on to her new year releases. So I want to read Wishes. I have it somewhere here on my TBR. And it's a story, it's a kind of fantasy, urban fantasy, historical fantasy, not sure. Two friends, but they fall out, something happens, and then there's one girl who has magical powers with one of the friends, and now those two friends are enemies. So that's all I know. Another series that I really want to get to and finish this 2026 is the Poppy War trilogy. I have it right here. I have both the books on my physical TBR. I loved the first book and I can't wait to know what happens in the second book. I am just too eager and too excited for it. I have to know what happens in the second book and the third book and finally put an end to that series. I mean, it's such a crazy, such a marvelous writing and beautiful storytelling, beautiful plot, so interesting, so intriguing. It's a high fantasy, I would say. It's a high fantasy set in a historical setting, and really want to finish that book, a series. Yeah, with that, I believe those were all the books that I want to get to, you know, that are very high up on my reading list for this year. And I hope I follow my goals and get to all these books in the year of 2026. Do share some of the books that are very high on your reading list for this year, and let's see what we have in common. Are there any books from my list that you are also going to be reading for this year? Do let me know in the comments. I love knowing what you guys are up to. And yeah, I think that brings us to the end of this video. With that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.